Welcome back to Briggs on Books, the truly international talk show with authors, people trying to be authors, publishers, people who help you get published. We want to know everything there is to know about being an author. And especially when we could get an author to come on the show and tell us how they did it and how it came out for them. By the way, we're broadcast by Central Valley Talk, where we celebrate what's good about the Central Valley. And we have a guest coming up with an inspirational story. She's been through a lot and come out the other end a survivor. Watch this video, and we'll come back and we'll meet our guest.
Nice.
In many ways, life has a way of being the most unpredictable thing in the world. We have no idea when we will arrive, when we will leave, and what we will experience in our time on Earth. In Dragonflies and Demons, Cheyenne narrates her struggles, all of which have come to define her. They are personal, but also universal. The story revolves around the author and her struggles. From her youth all the way to adulthood, the many trials and tribulations that shape Cheyenne into the person she is today is a testament to the fact that life has a way, albeit a bit cruelly, of bringing people down so that they may rebuild themselves differently. This tale takes the readers on a journey that shows the events of the author's youth and abandonment, her struggles with addiction, and an eventual inclination towards a stable life. The reader sees the antagonist making an effort to rebuild all the bridges that were burned down as a result of the many years spent away from normalcy. A lifetime of abandonment, trauma, and addiction. Cheyenne bears it all for her readers. She has been through massive upheavals, but has now found her voice. She is speaking out, not only for the little girl she was, but for the resilient woman she has become. This book is a truly telling tale that will take its audience on a roller coaster of emotions and will surely keep them glued to it, making it hard for them to put it down.
What a story. And we have the author here, Cheyenne Jenvey, author of Dragonflies and Demons. You've had a journey in your life.
I have.
From being a little girl chasing dragonflies, no doubt, to being an adult who's passed through this incredible journey and come out the other side.
Yes.
And becoming an author. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I'm a native born to the valley here.
By the way, for our international viewers, we're in Fresno, California.
Yes, we're in Fresno,
Central California.
And had an interesting childhood. Growing up, struggled with a drug addiction, to put it shortly, and then came out on the other side with, now I have almost 20 years sober, and now I want to share this journey to help others and share my book to maybe...
The inspirational part is that you were someplace where so many people are, especially here in the Central Valley of California. There's a lot of abuse and addiction and stuff like that, but not a lot come out the other end. The other interesting point, inspirational part, is that, and this isn't just a book for addicts. This is for parents, spouses, friends, grandmas, cousins, all the people around them, is that they're not the only one going through this. So there's people all around them going through the same thing.
Yes.
And most people have no education. They're not counselors. They don't know how to get people through stuff. And maybe this book could help them?
Definitely, because my book covers so many topics. I mean, it covers family dynamics, family lineages of alcoholism or drug abuse. It covers physical abuse, sexual abuse, not really sexual abuse, but emotional abuse, mental abuse. I've been through all of it. I've been incarcerated in jail here in Fresno. I've been on the streets. So I know what it's like to pick up yourself and pick up those pieces and put yourself back together and try to make a life again and be sober. And yeah. I mean, it's not easy, but it's worth it.
At some point, you hit the end. Like
I did.
It's either the judge or you have no place to go, no place to turn. What was the end point for you?
So I was struggling with my addiction, which the end was heroin, and I was facing 5 years in prison, Chowchilla prison, and I definitely didn't want to go to prison. So I was already on probation, and I was actually running from the law with my boyfriend. I got arrested for, again, drug possession, and I got the opportunity to either go away to 2 years in a rehab that took me away to Pennsylvania and then to Chicago, and then started here, but but it was a commitment, or I could face 5 years in prison. So I took the avenue of getting help.
Yeah. Now, you bring up a point, kind of implied it, but I want to ask you specifically about it. Can you, if you live in, say, Fresno, and you want to get out of your addiction, you left Fresno.
I did.
Is that important? You said Chicago, Philadelphia?
There is something to be said about getting yourself away from your environment where you did all your drug abuse and all that hanging out with. There is something to separate yourself and give yourself that time away from your environment. Some people don't ever come back, but some people do, and they're able to sustain being sober. But, and I'm one of them.
I never see drug sales. I just don't see it. I don't see people, hey, here's
No.
my buddy who worked here, and he was addicted, and he's gone now. But he said, oh, no, walking from here to the store over there, I'll have 7 chances to get drugs. So it's just everywhere.
It is.
And that's why I was asking about getting out of the environment where you know the people.
Yeah.
But I guess you could go to a new place, and you could spot them and keep the problem going.
And it's amazing being able to come back here in the valley and come through areas where I did spend time homeless, begging for change. I was walking the streets. I've spent time on the benches around the courthouse here in Fresno. So,
Jail? Were you in jail?
I've spent many times in jail, so
But
yeah.
then you were looking at the big one.
Looking at the big one. And I knew that prison was going to change me forever, and I couldn't go to prison. That scared me really bad.
But not scared you enough where, I could quit by myself?
I had a one-way ticket to rehab or to prison, and I took it very seriously. I knew that if I left, it was straight to prison.
Right.
This was my final. I had been in and out of courts, in and out of the law system for so many years, struggling with my addiction. So this was the final straw.
So at what point, I guess you're always an addict. Like, when were you over? I guess you're never over it.
Well, I think it's understanding your addiction, understanding yourself, understanding your limits. Some people have to be completely sober. Some people are able to still, abstain from that main drug and maybe have a little wine or whatnot. But I'm one of those that, I can stay away from those hard drugs. I know that that's something I never want to return to. Do I engage in a little glass of wine here and there? Sure. It doesn't lead me back to that. But everybody's sobriety walk is completely individual. It's completely unique. But the magic of being sober and being able to talk about your struggle and help others, because there's so many people that can relate. Whether it's yourself or a family member, like you said, like this is a universal topic that, and I didn't prepare to be a drug addict. I didn't want to be a drug addict. I didn't want to follow in the footsteps of my birth mother. But, it happened. And my dad raised me very well with a loving environment. And it just happened.
And he's gone now?
He did pass away. Yes, he did pass away. And so I came home from my program, and I had about a year with him, and I promised him that I would stay sober for the rest of my life. And so I'm living that promise and making him proud, and because I know that was the one thing that he would have wanted for me.
And then from there, where did the book come from?
So the book was always kind of like a dream, like just kind of a long time dream that was hidden in my heart. I had always journaled. And so when I was in rehab, it kind of ignited, and I never shared it with anyone. And so pastors spoke over me and said, you were going to write a book. And I'm like, how do you know about this? And then I went to, an event, Teresa Caputo, I don't know if we can say that, but I went to her event at Save Mart Center. She said, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, how do you know about this? And then she resolved a really conflicting guilt moment that I had with my dad. And she says, that's not something that you need to worry about anymore. And I was like, so she ignited really the launch of the book. And then I had back surgery, and I was laid out for a few months, and I said, let's just do it. So in 2015 it started, but then I kind of put it down because it was really heavy to deal with. It's very heavy.
Is it like therapy for you?
It was very therapeutic, yes. It was actually the best thing I could have probably ever done for myself, was write this story.
Now, so you had one process. You didn't know how to be a drug addict, but you figured that out. You didn't know how to get sober, but you figured that out.
Right.
And you didn't know how to write a book.
Right.
So you had a lot of steps in there.
Right.
Writing, putting it down, writing, putting it down. And when you started the book, were you starting as a book or just journaling?
Well, the old school way of what they teach you in English is you start with a web design. You start with the center and you branch out from there. So that's where I started was my core idea, and then I just branched out from there from all the chapters, and it just kind of blossomed and bloomed. It was just amazing how it just developed. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then once you finish writing, you have a whole nother job, right? Getting it published.
Yeah. And, I mean, it involved interviewing a lot of people involved that are in the book that I talk about. It involved getting the stories and getting all the facts. But then, yes, the financial part was huge. I had some inheritance money, so I used that for that purpose, and I'm here now.
Okay, is there another book coming?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do have some ideas.
Once you've been through the process and figured out how to get it published,
Yep.
I said, now you've learned how to write
Yep.
and publish a book. So
Yep.
now here's the cover. Got a couple versions of the cover, and just is really intriguing. How'd the name come up, by the way?
Yeah, so Dragonflies and Demons. Dragonflies are an amazing insect. They're the one insect, actually they're older than dinosaurs. And they're the one insect that can go in 5 directions. Most can go in 4. The dragonfly can go in diagonal because of the wings and how it propels, right? So I put that parallel in my book to how in life we can go in all kinds of directions. We can go forward, backwards, slide back, kind of go side to side and diagonal, go a little, wild. But in all essence, we come back to our true selves of who we are. And I just find the dragonfly just to be so magical, and actually they have a short lifespan. So when you see one, it's really quite unique. Demons, because I've overcome many demons. I've overcome a lot of demons from my childhood and growing up, and then the drugs and everything.
I know we're past time, but I've got a few more questions. Again, who is this book for?
The book is for everyone, anyone struggling, anyone who can relate. Young people, old people, anyone, any family. It's really a universal book. I mean, there are chapters that will take you, that anyone can really relate.
Last thoughts for our viewers? Anything we left out?
Just how to find me on Amazon, really mainly, and you can Google.
I will say this.
Or YouTube?
I just looked for you on Amazon. I found it like that.
Did you?
Just
Good.
Google
Good.
Cheyenne Jenvey. It seems like you're the
Yeah.
only Cheyenne Jenvey in the world because I didn't have a lot pop
Yeah,
up. But
yeah,
thank you for coming.
yeah.
I want to have you
Thank
back
you.
again and
Thank you
again.
so
You're
much.
very inspirational. Your
Thank
tale
you.
is inspirational.
Thank
I'm
you.
proud of you, and I just met
Thank
you.
you.
And I'm glad things are going this way for you. And for our viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll have more authors right after this.